Hey everybody, welcome back or welcome to Slim Hoffa True Crime Time. We're here to talk about Orrin and Arson, Trezell West and Jacqueline's trial. Um, we have Sarah Jean is about to jump on. Hey Sarah, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you feeling today?
Oh, a little rough. I'm still recovering from that COVID. I have like the long COVID thing where like
Yes.
our taste is still like messed up and then like that cough and everything and then I just have a headache today. But other than that, I'm okay. I'm okay.
So, other than that, it's fine.
I'm fine. I'm used to
Aw.
being sick,
Aw.
Not
I
really.
hope you get better fast.
It will. I think it's like we're over the worst part. So
Right.
I just keep reminding
Definitely.
myself that this is just like a little bit of leftovers.
Right.
I'm trying to talk
Oh,
a little lower today so that my mic don't overpower yours. Because I don't know
yes,
how to adjust it.
I think I'm gonna fix it right now.
Okay, because I was like, I don't know how to adjust my mic. But I did notice it's really loud.
You got the good power, the good mic power.
Right. Uh-huh.
I don't know if I fixed anything or anything.
Oh well.
Uh,
Like we'll just go
oh
with
yeah,
it.
I think okay. It says I fixed it. Okay. Yay.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, it even shows me how to do other things. All right. Anyway, back to where we're going. Um,
Anybody coming in, good morning. Please hit
yes,
like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe.
please do. Keeps us in the algorithm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so where do you want to start today?
Okay. Let me get my note. So, a lot was said yesterday.
Right.
So I kind of want to start with because this is where I started listening at. So I'm gonna try and stay in order, but I might bounce around. Um,
Okay.
so like the officers were noticing as they were talking to Trezell and Jacqueline at the kitchen table that they were being deceitful. You could just tell. There was no emotion. They could just see it. They could feel the lying. There was holes in the stories. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you noticed during the interrogation, um, I believe it was Officer Henson. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Was
Hey,
like
Carla.
good
Sorry.
morning, Carla. Was like telling Trezell, you just fucked up. There's holes in your story. Um, so remember, they're kind of going backwards. So that's why I keep like I'll like think something when they say something, then the next day, like I'll be like, oh wait a minute, they're following up with that now, and so I was a little off on that. I've been noticing
Yeah,
a few
I
things
heard,
like that, so I wanted to just kind of address that.
right. I heard that they were going to start from the day they went missing and they're going to go
Hmm.
down the line all the way to
Yeah.
September.
Yep. They're gonna work backwards from
Yeah,
our beginning to the actual beginning.
right. The day
And
they were
then
reported missing.
yeah. So that was I believe of course before he asked if he could go because are we under arrest and all that. But what I found quite interesting is like, and these cops are trained and they saw deception immediately. But
Hmm.
they still looked for the boys and they still did their thing. But when they were
Hmm.
talking with them at the kitchen table, there was that one officer in particular that just really wasn't buying it, and he kept wanting to 10-15 him, which I don't know
Right.
if
You
that's
wanted to
arrest
arrest him.
him.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. So Trezell got really defensive and told him to leave. I want you to leave. And the officer
Mhm.
told him to go fuck off. And then
Right.
he left. And then he left because he was asked to leave, you know?
Did you hear about the part where the cop put his hand on Jacqueline's thigh? And
Yeah,
it was
that's what they're
recorded.
saying. Yeah,
It was
but you
on
want,
video.
do you know, I have actually seen that before. Um,
Oh, really?
you can kind of like interpret that any way you want to. What I really think they were doing was trying to connect with
Hey,
her and
Amanda.
say, they were trying to do we know you're a mom, we're here for you. They were trying to uh, make a relationship, like a, not that kind, but you know what I mean. They were trying to be doting to her at first. And let me put my hand on her leg and tell her, oh my God, I'm sorry you guys are going through this type thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's really
Right.
all it was. But of course, because it was her leg, they're going to make a big deal about it.
Right.
But
They're gonna
I've
put it
seen
as
that before.
right. I seen it in the when Court TV put up the video. I
Uh-huh.
seen of the opening statements. They said they could only have videos of that. So
Yeah.
I seen, like, they didn't show the actual video of it, but in the background you could see the cop was touching her leg, her thigh. But it was like a second and then he got off.
Right. He was just kind of like trying to say, hey, you know, it's okay, like type thing. Like
Right.
it's okay to tell us or whatever. Like he wanted to, but
Like get on a
I
personal
do
level
agree
with
it's a
her. So
little,
he
yes,
yeah, it's
exactly.
it's uncalled for.
It is inappropriate. It is inappropriate,
Yeah.
and they need to figure out a new way of doing it. But that's not the first time I've seen a cop do that to somebody that they were trying to make comfortable, so that they
Uh-huh.
could get them to talk to them. So, but yeah, that's kind of a man, why'd you do that kind of moment,
Right, kinda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so the
Um,
trial won't resume until April 10th. So there's no trial
yes.
today, and there's no trial next week for people that didn't know.
Yeah, it'll start up April 10th. Yep.
Right.
And then Pee Wee shared the calendar. I sent it to you, and she said it is subject to change, but basically that's the schedule.
Yeah.
Right,
These people
Carla?
went on
It
a
is.
vacation.
It is, and they did. It's spring break, so what are you
Right.
gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's not the first trial I've seen do something like that too. They'll start, which is
It's
silly. It's weird to me that they'll start and then take such a break and then come back at it, and it's like, why didn't you just wait for the spring break to be over with and then just go full forward?
right. Well,
Like,
Trezell and Jacqueline are the ones that gotta wait in jail. So,
yeah, but then that gives their attorneys more time to go over what the last few days have been like and what they might have done wrong or could
oh,
have
right,
done better, or notice something that they can
right.
address later. And I'm like, man, don't give them no time for nothing, because they're going to try and find one little mistake to throw this out.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's
looking for
just my
anything.
opinion. Yeah. So
They
the
said
part
Wanda
about
West is going to be interrogated. So,
testifying.
yes,
Oh, so
testifying.
she
There you
was,
go.
and was she interrogated too? I wonder if they'll play that. I'm sure she was.
I'm sure she was. I'm sure.
So this is the part that bothers me, that I wanted to talk about and see what
Right.
other people's thoughts were. Was about the officer contacting CPS, but he doesn't remember or recall why he contacted them, although his phone
Mm.
number is the one who contacted them. And apparently, they're saying in his report to CPS that it says there is a video of the boys walking down the street. And he says no. And they're like, well, did you report that to CPS? He says no. And they're like, well, who did? And he goes, dispatch does that. So I don't know if maybe someone thought they saw him on the camera because it was so dark out that night, and there was some movements that I don't know if you remember when we were analyzing those videos that were being released. Sometimes it looked like something, and then someone would debunk it and be like, look, it's not, it's a shadow, or it's a this, or it was that. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I see. So
Yeah,
I
because
think
in the
it was
beginning of the
something
video,
like
I
that.
think it was a dog or something that was running around, and people thought it was the boys.
Right. So that's what I'm thinking. It was something like that, and then they didn't follow up and say, you know what? No, that's not what it wasn't. The boys walking down the street. I'm not sure, but it has to be
Right.
something like that. They played some of her answering questions. Oh, did they? I missed that part.
I did not hear that part. Ooh.
Yes, Amanda, I agree, because that is so frustrating. I don't remember. I don't recall. Like, how do you not know anything about that day? You know, you were so upset and passionate and telling him to fuck off and wanted to 10-15 him, but yet you don't remember shit. I agree with you,
Right.
Amanda. I hope everyone forgets about that testimony.
You see it in one of the pictures how Jacqueline is just like watching like
Wait, what?
in one of the pictures she's just there like
Oh,
just chilling. Just
yeah,
chilling.
yeah.
She's like, I got this, I got this.
Then that's what they think.
Oh,
No,
Trezell's attorney is his breathing it does
I
something to
can't.
me.
I can't with him.
I'm
Okay,
like,
the
he needs an
way,
asthma pump or something.
seriously, I told you, like, the first day, he went in just with the opening statements, so excited and anxious, and he came in so hot. Um, to
Yeah,
me, it was an
he came like he was running.
unprofessional.
He's like
Yeah, yeah, and he's like trying to get everything out all at once, and I don't know, it just, to me, it looked like he was a hot mess. Like, he didn't have his stuff
yeah.
together. He wasn't calm and cool and collected. He's frantic, like, but trying to be
Mhm.
cocky and confident at the same time, you know. But yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
buying it. Nobody is, really. I'm sure the jury's not buying
Yeah.
that shit.
Hey Amber. Yeah, that's crazy.
What'd you think about Mr. Dobbs's testimony? The neighbor across the street with the Nest doorbell cam.
Yeah. I think she's I mean sorry. I think he could have caught more if his camera would have recorded more. Like he probably could have seen like in the beginning if Oren was ever there. I think it was
Yeah,
Oren or Orson. They said one of them were there still for like a few days. So
right.
uh, it's it's a shame
It
nothing
just,
was like
yes,
we didn't see the kids in
just still
Charleston.
shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I
So
don't
he
know.
almost,
He's
almost like,
yeah.
okay, so I guess he's getting threats, and it's almost like people think he's on their side or defending them, or like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, but
like
he
like
just
he
doesn't have
said,
anything.
he doesn't really know what happened, and he felt bad for them, brought them some food for Christmas, and they came back over to thank him and such. So I think that's as
Yeah.
far as that went, you know. But people are like harassing him over just that,
Well,
I
in the
guess.
beginning, honestly, I saw him as suspicious. When he decided
Right.
to move about a month after this happened, but he supposedly already planned to move. He just put his house on sale around the same time frame. And so I was like, wait, why are you moving when these
It
boys
is
just went
interesting
missing?
because
It
they would
didn't make
only,
any sense. Like,
well, they had
it was off. It was sus.
him and his wife bought the house. They were only 19, right? But they only lived there a year and moved when they were 20, right after this happened, and said, no offense, but we wanted out of California. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I don't know about this. No. But did you notice they kept trying to make a thing about puppies in the neighborhood? As if they're going to come up with someone lured them with puppies. This is the only thing I can think of because they were really stuck on this. Which neighbors had puppies? Who had
Oh
puppies? Who
yeah,
had this? And so
yes.
I'm like, well, what's with
Somebody
the
lured them
puppies?
out.
Yeah, and
No.
that's the only thing I could think of because why are they so curious about who had puppies and who didn't?
Oh, but did you
You
see
know?
the video? They showed like a car in the beginning of the video when the boys were reported missing. There was like a car light that went off, and then like a minute later they left and went up the block. And about a minute later after that, a minute and a half, that's when Trezell turned on his lights, supposedly looking for the kids. And they're trying to make it seem like that car could have had something to do with the whole situation of them
If
kidnapping the boys.
right, but if I
I
remember
mean, it does
correctly,
look sus. It
no, but
does
if
look
I
sus.
it does, but if I remember correctly, when that was first being shared around YouTube, um, I
Mm.
analyzed it, I looked at it, and so did everybody else, and like it's his lights up in the hill, and then he either takes a turn and the lights dim, or he turns them off for a minute, and then they come back on in a like little bit of a different area, like coming back down or something.
Yeah, it could be like reflected onto something.
Yeah, like I don't, and the car wasn't actually on that street, right? It was just like in the distance.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
in the dis. Yeah, because you couldn't really tell what like where was the car or anything until it drove in. It drove like into the block where you have to turn on the middle side. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but
right.
it was very
Hey,
sus.
Amber, good
I say
morning.
that, but just like you know, just like they had sensory lights right there in that yard. So if the boys would have ran to the car or somebody would have picked them up or something like that, those sensory lights would have went off. Censored lights.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. And there, it wouldn't have
either
just been
way,
like
it didn't.
headlights in the distance. It would have been they would have seen it on camera.
Right. And the
But
neighbor,
they do kind.
he just basically confirmed that they were being harassed. Bricks were
Yeah,
being thrown out their window. He's seen it all basically. He was just
yeah,
confirming all of that. So that didn't help very much, you know?
yeah. And then like they just I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say. It'll come back to me. Let me jump around on my notes. um,
Sorry.
no, no, no,
Yes,
that's
we
okay.
watched Duty
I don't
Ron.
want to
Duty Ron was
interrupt.
great.
I don't want to interrupt, but then
Right.
I forget what I what I was gonna say, but that's okay. We'll get back to it. Um,
Hey D.
okay, so I remember what I was gonna say. They are doing a good job proving that the police kind of messed up with the way they did their investigation. Like,
Yeah.
so let's just say for the child, what do you want to call them? The registers. We'll just call them the registers.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't write in the report that, oh yeah, he wasn't home, but I spoke to his mom. They made it look like they talked to him and cleared him on one of them. And I'm like, oh, that's a
Mm-hmm.
mistake. Shoot.
Right.
Little things like that are just like starting to get to me. I'm like, man, why you could have just been a little more thorough. You could have just wrote in there he wasn't home. I spoke to his mom. Like, how hard is that? Especially if you believe they did something, like you should have been preparing for this, like right away then. If you were prepared to 10-15 him, you should have been preparing in your statement every little bit of info from your investigation you were getting.
Yeah.
Then there was one house that had a sex offender, I'll just say SO, registered to, and then people said they don't even know who he is. He don't never lived here as far as they knew. So they're trying to make it look like you guys don't even know where your SOs are. They're registering
Right.
under addresses they don't even belong to. And
Right.
you're not flagging this. And you're not
Right.
checking on
Did
these
you see
people,
they
and
said
you should have known this. I'm like, oh
the sex
man.
register actually called the cops
Oh, that guy, yes, that one did, and he told supposedly told them to look at a certain address. And
Right.
apparently they did follow up at that address, and I don't know what the outcome was on that.
But he also said that he wanted to speak to the police and they never spoke to him.
Right, they did never contact him back, and he really did want to. So I wonder if
And that's
he'll be
something you
coming in,
should follow up on.
and I wonder if he'll be
You never
coming
know, it
in
could have been a
for a statement.
confession or something.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Like, are they gonna pull him in on the stand and see what is it you were trying to say? I'm sure the defense has already talked to this guy,
Mhm.
and I don't know about the prosecution because they're kind of slipping a little bit here and there because they're focused on the bigger stuff that's going to come later. But these little things do add up. They really need to check their stuff and get it situated here. But what I found
Right.
interesting too was that there was a kitchen table with only 7 chairs when there should be 8. And then
Mm.
I don't know if it was the defense or the prosecution at the time was questioning the officer and said, "Did you ever?" I think it was the defense. "Did you ever find the 8th chair in the house?" And he said, "No." And then she said, "Do you see this picture here of the kids' room?" He says, "Yes." But then they moved on to talking about clothing. So I'm like, wait, so did they ever find the 8th chair? Like, they didn't really,
Yeah. They left
say.
it at no. That's what
Yeah.
they left it at no.
Yeah,
So you know
exactly.
what it is? One of them didn't come to Cal City and it makes sense. You know?
Right. Because there's only 7 chairs. There should be 8. And then they asked him about the little Santa hats on each chair, because those were the kids' chairs, and that there was 5. And I mean, wait, there was only 5, huh? There should be 6.
Right, I agree with
And
him.
the officer kept saying, "I only saw 4, and in that picture, I can't see the chair good enough to see if there's one on it." And she made it either handed him the picture or whatever, and he looked at it. He goes, "Okay, yeah, there's one on that chair, so there's 5." Okay, so there's only 5 Santa hats on the chairs. There should be 6. I believe
Wow.
it came down to 5. I'm looking through my notes to double check. Um, yes, I agree too with you, Amanda. They do need to get it together. Yeah, and the neighbor said the motion lights would be triggered by something the size of a dirt bike.
Mm.
So definitely a car is going to make it go off. He said sometimes his dog, which is a golden retriever, will set it off. So definitely even 2 kids walking down the street would probably set it off because it's motion. It's not.
Right.
But still, it was only still shots, no video, which sucks. I mean, I wouldn't cancel my video footage until I move. Like, why did they cancel it so much ahead of time just because they were gonna be moving? That part, like you said, was sus.
Yeah. And it's
That
like
is to me.
you still need to securitize your house. You're still living there. You didn't move yet.
Exactly. Exactly. You
So
were still in the
and then
process
with
of
all this
selling.
that's happening, why wouldn't you want to securitize your house? There's so many people in front of your house now. Like
Right,
it
and he's
doesn't
like
make
the
any
only
sense.
neighbor. He's the only neighbor that kind of has some kind of a relationship with them. He introduced himself when they moved in. He went to their door to borrow something. Then he talked to them, I believe, the one time after they were missing, which was around Christmas or on Christmas, to give them the food.
Mhm.
So he's the only neighbor really that has spoken with them or went out of his way to talk to them. Or so, I mean, so you never know. I'm not saying
And
the
then the
guy is
neighbor,
guilty. I'm just saying he's really sus on some of the moves he made leading up
right?
to and during and after.
Yeah. The neighbor says she's seen The neighbor that's across on the yard from him.
Yeah, where her
Um,
dog was barking and never usually does, and she thought something's up. That one.
right. She said she's seen a
Yes.
guy. Yeah, that one. She said she's seen a guy in a gray hood coming in and out of the gate. So she
She
didn't know
did.
what that
I
was
heard
about.
that. Yeah, and then that could have been them looking at that point. That could have been the
Looking
police
for
even
the
looking
kids.
at that point, or other neighbors at that point, because she said right after that she put the dog up because she started hearing what was going on, and her husband got in the car and started looking the neighborhood too. So I'm thinking that
Mm,
they're trying to say it could have been a suspect, but that's why they're using her testimony. But at the same time, it just shows that things were starting to unfold, and people were starting to move and look around and walk around and look for the boys.
yeah.
And then the kids' testimony might be at risk too. That bothers me because that was what I was banking on.
And the
I
random
really
people
hope.
that were going through his trash. They're saying random people
Yes.
were going through his trash.
Oh
Uh, he had
man.
to block his phone. Um, they're basically saying he was harassed for every which way possible.
Right, but I mean,
They were going through the backyard, going through his mom, going through the
I really don't know what
trash.
that has anything to do with the boys missing. So it's so
It
crazy to me
doesn't,
that they're
but they're
even
trying to
bringing
make
it
it
up.
seem like they're trying
All
to make it seem
evidence had
like
already
that's
been
why they
collected.
weren't looking. Yeah,
Oh,
like that's
right.
why they weren't
Yeah.
looking because they were like being harassed and they were so scared for their life and fearful.
Yeah.
That's why they ran away. Uh,
Right.
like they weren't running because they were guilty. They're saying they're running because people were harassing them, and then the
Right.
neighbors are confirming these things. So that's
And
not
that's
good.
typical. That's typical, though. I mean, look at any case, really. Um, Look at the Summer Wells case. You know, all of them right now. Like, that's what happens. People post up out front of their house and
Yeah,
harass you until because they know you're guilty and you need to tell the truth. They did it with
right.
Brian Laundrie's parents' house. I'm trying to think of his name right now. Bear with me, you guys. I do have a headache. um, 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 I can't think of her. Oh my god, I can't believe the one where
Who?
Leilani Simon's the mom. Anyway, they harassed her and she was guilty. We all knew it. The police knew it. They finally have her under arrest because they finally found
Yeah.
his remains, some of them.
Wow.
And so it just goes to
That's
show when
sad.
people do that, they really are doing it for a reason, you know. But some people run and hide, some people don't. Leilani, she ran a little, hit a little, but she still pretty much stayed at that house and pretended to
hmm
stand her ground and all that. So, I mean, it's just
I
typical.
think
In
this is
any
the
case
part
with
where
a
they
child.
thought. This is the part where they thought that they seen the boys on security camera because it says Dobbin says his nest doorbell rang. Security video alerted there was movement on the street around 5:12 p.m., 5:34 p.m., and 5:51 p.m.
Okay. So they're trying to say the
That and
512 would have been the boys.
right, and then Trezell called the 911 at 5:41 p.m.
To see if anyone called in a couple boys then found.
Right. So that's where they probably got confused and thought they saw the boys on camera because they said the doorbell, the security video was alerted for movement on the street around 5:12, 5:34, and 5:51.
I would
I
like them
wonder
to
what movement
question.
that was. Maybe it was a car going by or something.
It could have been even a dog or anything. My curiosity
Right.
would be to find out and question that neighbor, like before the boys were reported missing. When you did talk to Trezell, did he ever ask you about your cameras?
Hey, Darshell.
You know?
Yeah.
That would be my first question. Did they ever inquire about your camera system, or did you ever see them looking at it when you were out talking to them? Or, did they know you had a camera system, and did they know
Right.
it wasn't recording video at the time? So these would be my questions. And I'm sure maybe the prosecution will get to that later for like cross-examination. See, some trials will do where one of them, either the defense or prosecution will question a witness, and then the other one will come in for cross-examination. But I think because these are
Right.
all openings, that they are subject to come back later for that. I know Officer
Mm-hmm.
Henson is. They made that
Mm-hmm.
clear. Yeah. Uh, and the fact that there was only one used diaper in the whole house. I don't know
Yeah.
what day trash day is, so I can't say nothing on that. But even if the trash came that morning, you're going to tell me you only changed the boy's diaper one time that day? You know
No,
what I
it's five
mean? So
o'clock. It's 5 o'clock.
mathematically
You should
and
have changed like a few
scientifically,
diapers.
right, like
Yeah.
mathematically and scientifically, the shit just don't add up.
Mm-mm.
So like, I don't know. That was sad to hear. And my first thought was because the older boy did say that Orson was there for I don't know if it was a couple days, a few days or something. And then he heard the thud
Mm-hmm.
and then he was gone. So my thought was maybe the diaper was left over from that. Or maybe one of their other kids, one of the youngest, has accidents, so they put one on him during certain times, maybe like for a nap. You know, like I used to have to do
Mm-hmm.
with mine, even when he was 6, because he couldn't help it. Even if he didn't drink water, he would wet his bed, so I would have to put a pull up. So even, 6-year-olds can wear, and it was a size 6 diaper, which doesn't mean that's the age that belongs in that diaper because it goes
No.
by a weight
Yeah.
class. Like I
Wait.
get that
Yep.
too. Yes. But usually they do almost match up with the age, the size. And to me, it was like, oh, that could have been from one of the other youngest. The youngest one of the 4
Mm-hmm.
kids, like, because they brought the 4 kids to Wanda's that day or the day before. I can't remember when they said they brought them to Wanda's.
I
Wasn't
think it
it
was the
that
day
morning?
before.
Or okay, it was the day before.
I'm not.
So
Yeah.
that diaper was probably used on the youngest kid that went to Wanda's during a nap and just left there to look. Because I'm sure it wasn't tested for DNA or anything. I
They
wish
should
it
have.
would have been. Yep, excuse me, I wish it would have been, but no. Oh, and then they were asking the cop if he was trying to pull a ruse on them with like every statement they would tell them. Like when they said, hey, we have badass footage from the East Lot over here. And they're like, were you bluffing to them, trying to get them to say something? And the officer was like, no, we weren't bluffing. So apparently they felt like they had some really good badass footage. But yeah, the officers' responses are very discerning.
Sounds like the officers were fed up with them. And they were just
Especially the
like,
one guy, especially the one that was asked to leave, because he was not backing down to Trezell, and he kept telling him, "We know you're lying. Just tell
yeah.
us the truth." Um, and it's all on body cam too. And so Trezell tells him, to leave or whatever. He's like, you need to leave. And the officers told him to go fuck himself. And Trezell
Mm.
told him to get the fuck out of here. So there was some words exchanged that didn't end very well there. But I
It
wasn't
wasn't
mad
so
at that
good.
one bit. I was not mad at that one bit. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't. But someone kept standing up trying to let them know, look, we're not buying this.
Oh, you know what we need to talk about? The 2 boys that were with Trezell and Jacqueline a few years ago.
Yes, yes. So
Where are
I,
they? Because their parents
yeah,
don't even know where they are.
from what I remember, when the mother did that interview, she was basically saying what she was being told from, I don't know if you want to call it CPS, DHS, whatever. Um, she was being told that they were initially placed with the West. So, in other words, they're not with them no more. We know where they are, but we can't tell you. So that's
Right.
the way that I think that actually really is what happened, because once they're adopted, you don't have rights. We don't have to tell you where your child is, and we don't have to show you proof of life. Even if there was a tragic situation at the place they were once at. But they should at least assure her they are safe with another family, but they're not even doing that. They're just kind of like, we don't have to tell you anything, but they were initially
Right.
placed with the West. Initially. So that tells me they were eventually uh, placed somewhere else. They didn't get adopted from the West. So I do feel
Okay.
like her boys are okay. Her kids are okay. But
Okay.
I can understand as a mother wanting to know, especially with all this going on. And then
Right.
CPS dropping the ball and not doing things like protocol. And once the boys were adopted, they kind of stopped checking on them and stuff, which I didn't think they were supposed to. I thought they were supposed to still have check-ins and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering that the adoption did go pretty quickly. Um, I know it had been a couple years, but to me, that's still like, it was just like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, one day they were adopted underneath the mother still thinking she was working on getting them back. So to me, that's too swift, you know?
Right.
And then she was just told, look, it's over. They've been adopted, and you did, you know, you ran out of time, basically. So I don't know. I feel like those boys are okay, and she's just trying to find out where they are, and CPS is trying to protect them and the family that they were placed with. That's
Mm-hmm.
my ultimate feeling, but I don't blame her for being scared or worried or wanting to know, but she just lost her rights, so she doesn't have those rights to know anymore, unfortunately. So, but I still would like to try and like find an update on that and see, you know, where she's at, like with her thoughts and feelings, and if she was ever finally
Right.
told anything or at least shown a picture of them. Look, here they are. They're okay. They're alive and healthy. Like that's the least they could have dang done.
Mm-hmm.
But I am gonna look into that for some updates for you. Because I want to
Yeah,
see like
definitely.
what did ever come to that. You made such a big deal about it and then nothing. I think she got shut down and told to stop. Don't do any more interviews, you know.
Yeah.
But if she would have been shown proof of life, I'm sure she would have made a statement.
I
So I
have a
don't think she
question.
was.
I'm wondering if they will put Cherry Vasquez on the stand. The one that they
He,
thought was Jacqueline's mother, but it was not, and she went through a little tough time. They might say that, you know what I'm saying, like they were harassing her too.
well,
Uh,
really though, that was more the
just added to
YouTubers,
the harassment too.
right? But that was more the YouTubers harassing, which honestly, she in the end essentially had no connections. Police weren't harassing her, so
Right.
I honestly don't think they'll pull her for any statements because she don't have really any except for the YouTubers. Now, if they try to pull, hey, the
Okay.
YouTubers were meddling in the case and they were, you know, they made this negligent or they did that, then yeah, I can see them pulling her in to discuss things.
That's what I
If
feel
they,
like they're gonna go to.
yeah,
Like they're gonna
they are.
say
They're
if
gonna
they
try and
can't go
they're gonna
anywhere
pull at
else.
straws. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna pull at straws and they're gonna try and discredit this whole entire investigation. And they are gonna use the YouTubers, I'm sure,
Hey,
because
Mary.
you know.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mary. Yeah, so like I do feel yeah on that one. I'm curious too if they're going to start pulling in certain YouTubers that were out there doing their own investigating.
Mhm.
I've kind of wondered that from the beginning. I wonder who's all going to be, you know, called to the stand. And another thing is that guy, the neighbor from across the street, Dobbs or whatever, seems to be a little excited and happy to be there. Am I wrong? Was it just me?
Who?
Dobbs, the neighbor from across the street that had the camera footage when he was on the stand. He
Yeah.
kind of seemed excited, like happy to be there, like let's do this,
Oh
let's
yeah.
go, okay. And I'm
But
just
then
like,
he lied about seeing his own video. He
right.
said he never seen his video before. Like he didn't look, he wasn't looking through them, and we were looking through them on YouTube with him. So
That's
I
right.
don't know.
And well, that could be the other neighbor. We might have him confused with the one from like
Confused.
next door.
I was thinking
Because
that
the one,
maybe.
I believe the one we were looking over with is the one that was next door, because we could see over the fence what looked like a shadow of a person bending over, but it was too dark to really tell if that was Trezell collecting wood or not, which I'm sure he was. He wanted someone to see him out there doing what he
Yeah,
was going to lie
he
and
was
say he
acting
was
out
doing.
the
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So, but I think that's the video footage you're thinking of. The one across the street, I don't think he put himself in the public too much. If I remember
Oh,
correctly,
that's
he just
also
handed
interesting.
everything over.
They said there was no street lamps by his house or the West home. Dobbins, that's across the street. The
Yeah,
neighbors. He said
that's the
there's
one.
no street lights.
Wow.
There's no. So I
Yes,
think these
Mary,
people
she
picked
did
this
make
house.
her own channel. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think these people picked this house because there was no street lights.
Yes, and they picked the corner house where there was an open lot next to them. They planned it
And the
out.
kids
And
could
when
be
they
free
asked,
to
yes,
escape.
when they asked Trezell how he came about to find that house to move into, he said they were just looking to move out of Cal City and that he was just driving around looking for a house and he came across that one and liked it or something. And I'm thinking, this is so
Yeah,
phony.
right.
Who does that? Who does that? Who drives outside of their state to the state over just
Really
to drive
far.
around? Yeah, just to drive around neighborhoods and say, oh, you know what? There it is. That's the house we're going to buy. You know what I mean? No. You go
Yeah,
online these
no,
days.
that's
You don't
not
even have to leave your house. You know?
right.
And then don't forget, the lady that sold that house to them never saw the boys. She only saw 4. They always had 4 with them. The
Yeah.
other 2 little ones were never there. She says she never seen them out of all that time, all the meetings she had with them and whatever. So we got to remember that too, because they might pull her in. If anybody gets pulled in, I think it's going to be her for sure, because she was doing dealings with them and meetings, and she was seeing them with their kids, and she actually did some interviews on YouTube, I believe, and gave her statement a few times, and she had a lot to say, if you remember correctly. So I think she's going to be pulled onto the stand. I would hope so. I really would hope so.
Yeah.
Because she's a witness. She's a witness to seeing them quite a bit while they were moving from from Bakersfield to Cal City. So, I mean, for her, and like, I'm going to just address Wanda one more damn time. Tell me she didn't know those boys were missing.
She was grieving.
Listen. If Trezell is telling the police publicly and telling the public on a news thing that, you know, they just walked off, they wandered off, they're missing, but yet Wanda has already been told already prior to that they went back to their their bio families. She didn't think that was a red flag. She didn't think, oh boy, something's wrong. Maybe that's what triggered her to grieve. I don't know, but to me, it's like, okay, Wanda, your common sense should have kicked in right then and there if you didn't know anything ahead of time. But you still defended them. You still told off everybody that was out there trying to look for those babies you said you loved, and when you could have just been nice to them. You didn't have to. incriminate the case. You could have spoke to them still and just been careful what you say and don't say, but be nice to them and
Right.
thank them for being out looking for your grandsons. She was too defensive for me.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I wouldn't want people at my, house talking crap about my kid or, my family and harassing us either. But you know how you stop that is you talk to them like an adult,
Right.
and you show that you're remorseful and you don't know what's going on and you're worried about the boys too. You don't just say, hey, are they at your house? Or
Right.
you got it but you don't, but you do. Like those are the things that make me think she knew more. But I just wanted to address that one
She's
more time
playing
because
games.
I'm like, tell me you didn't know ahead of time, because lady, even if you didn't, the minute you found out they were on TV telling people that they wandered off and they were missing, like, to me, they were too ahead of themselves, that they planned this out. So why would they tell Wanda, yeah, they went back to their family, knowing that they're about to tell the world that they are missing from their care?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part that ain't clicking for me there with Miss Wanda. But let's see. AV Steve got to see video because Ali had got what they needed. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So whatever was left behind that they didn't take a copy of or something, I don't know how they did
Mm-hmm.
that, because the guy across the street handed over his phone, his everything. So this guy must have had a copy of it to be showing AV watching. Oh, so
Right.
the eighth chair was in the picture in the kids' room, says Charlie. Okay. Because I was listening very carefully, and when she was asking, did you ever find the eighth chair while searching the rest of the house, the officer said no. Then she showed a picture, exhibit, whatever, and she said, what's this a picture of? And he said, the kids' room. And then she went on to talking about him looking in bins of clothing and looking at clothing. I never heard anything more about a chair. So Charlie's saying the eighth chair was in the picture in the kids' room. Yeah, no jobs, Mary, because he was working as a security guard protecting people, and he thought to himself, there's so many kids out here being abused that need homes. Why don't I just dedicate my time to taking care of other people's kids? So that's why he didn't have a job, supposedly. And
Huh.
she sold art and he sold music, but they weren't selling anything at the time. By both sides of the family, are you talking about Jacqueline's side and Trezell's side, Mary? Because I know the bio parent family didn't know nothing. And everybody's like, well, how did Ryan Dean find where they lived? Well, because it was on the news. It was in the news. It was not hard to find. Everybody knew where they were. Everybody was starting to come outside of the house. And they had a point. You didn't even come out and do a prayer that night when all the neighbors were
Yeah.
outside with candles doing the prayer. We were told to stay put. You couldn't go out your front door and thank people and pray with them with the candles real quick.
That's so disrespectful. That tells you right
Yes.
there.
Right. Yeah, Charlie, the Santa hats on the chairs were sus. In fact, there was only 5 instead of 6, and of course they were placed there on purpose to make it look just like the presents under the tree. There was some presents for Orrin and Orson under the tree. That doesn't mean they were alive or there. Like, come on, it doesn't mean anything. Now let's get to the stuff that does mean stuff. There was only 1 diaper, like the toothbrushes were stuck, like they hadn't been used in a long
Right.
time. But it was almost like they were placed there and something was poured over to make it look like, how kids are messy. They brush their teeth. They barely rinse their toothbrush. They throw it on the counter and they go off to bed. So that's what they were trying to make it look like. It was definitely planted like that. Um,
But they also said it was dusty.
right. Well, they didn't think that far ahead. They probably moved in, threw them there, and thought, well, let me just, make it look like they're here or whatever. They probably started staging the whole house the minute they moved in.
Right.
Okay, Mary, I just wanted to make sure. Right, you can switch tags on gifts. You can, even if they did buy a few gifts for the kids, just to make it look like they don't care. It's just a few bucks out of their pocket. They were getting $800 per kid, and plus the stimulus checks, so they had the money. And of course, they're going to put presents under the tree because they want people to believe that they were there. And then the Santa hats on the chair, that was just, ugh. But like, where was the sixth Santa hat? They only counted 5. The cop only counted 4 in the picture. She put the picture in front of him, and he's like, "Okay, now I see it. Yes, there's 5." Am I wrong? Let me look at my notes. I want to make sure there was 5, not 6, because I don't want to say that incorrectly. I've noticed a few things I've said were not exactly correct because, like I said, they're going backwards. And then the next day they would say something, and I'm like, "Oh wait, okay, I guess I was a little bit wrong about that one." But I'm looking, and man, I didn't write it down. Did you take a note?
Uh, I'm looking on the Twitter feed to see like what pops
Oh
out
yeah, that
for us
might
to talk
say it
about.
because they definitely would have tweeted that about the Santa hats.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But yeah, they're really tearing into the responding officers, which, I understand that's how they do it, but I'm just upset at how bad the officers really look, not at them being interrogated. Of course, I expected them to be torn into like that, but I didn't expect it to look good for the defense. You know what I mean? Oh, and in one picture, they were saying there was toothbrushes on the counter, and then in another picture, they were asked if these were the toothbrushes you've seen on the counter. He says, no, there was one yellow up in the cupboard, like the mirror cabinet. So
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to say that the police were saying that there wasn't any toothbrushes there. And then while they're questioning them in court, they're saying, yeah, those are the toothbrushes we saw. Oh, so were those Orrin and Orson's or whatever? And he's like, well, I mean, that's what they said, or something like that, along the lines like that.
They're not helping us. Like, how do you
So
even
let's
remember this
let's talk
case?
about let's talk about the kids being questioned, because that's very important here.
Yeah.
So here I'm thinking, by the way the interrogations were being played out, that they talked to all 4 kids. All 4 kids had the same exact story, and it's a rock solid deal. But then after what I heard yesterday, I'm like, uh-oh. So apparently Damien, they were having trouble with during his initial questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if he's the one or if it was another child was saying they do not know right from wrong and they cannot give an example of it. So I don't think they could go forward
Yeah.
with his statement then. They have to stop questioning him right then and there. And they said that's what they would do. As if a kid answers, no, I don't know right from wrong, or no, I can't give you an example, they said that they stopped the interview and they will no further question the child. But then why did you come in so hot saying you have statements from all 4 children?
Right. And they
So
said another
that,
child struggled to answer questions.
yeah. And I think it's because the way the officers filled in the blanks with murder and dying and killing someone and those kind of things. they're trying to make it look like the officers put the words in the kid's mouth and the kids were just agreeing with what the officers had written down, basically, is what they're trying to do.
Mm.
But you don't want the kid to not know what you're talking about either. You do have to put something to fill in the blank. The kid's not the one who fills in the blank. Oh, and the form that these officers use to question the children are forms that are supposed to only be used to question juveniles that are actual suspects themselves. But yes, so the officers explained, this is the only form we have, this is what we work with and go on. And it's, not too far different from the other. They're like, yeah, but it's not the right one. So they kind of got him there on that one a little bit too. That they're going off of a form that's not for that. It's just little things like that can very easily change a trial.
Yeah.
Mary, they didn't sell the youngest boy, I don't believe, because the oldest kid, who was 10, said he heard a thud and then it got really quiet. And then the next day he was gone. So, sounds to me like something sinister happened. And plus there's more to come out about that, I think. I believe they do.
When Wanda testifies, I hope they ask her about what was going on in her house.
Right. Remember when we kept seeing the police go in her house that day and we were wondering, they're probably being questioned? That must have been when the kids were being questioned. So they were still actually at Wanda's.
So, they hadn't been taken
yet. We were wondering where they were, if they were safe somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I meant to bring that up too, yeah.
Yeah, it was with Wanda. And that's why she was so protective over her house. Like, get away. Mm-hmm. But then again, why would you be doing fires in your backyard? You have kids there.
Right. And if you think about the timing, and I guess it was around one of the kids' birthdays, because it was in July when the initial fire was. I think there was 2 reports, wasn't there? I remember Crenshaw did pull them. She got the fire reports, remember?
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to go back and... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to find a copy of those and read them over again and take some notes. I want to refresh my memory on that. But yes, I agree with you, Charlie. Sadly. And those pictures did speak volumes. It said so much without saying.
Yes, Stephanie. Jacqueline would have talked by now if they weren't dead.
That's right. If they were just sold, she could have been, turned on.
Like, I ain't going to jail forever.
Hey, good morning, the Realty. And hate is a strong word, and it's not that they hated him. What I really truly feel is they just didn't know how to control or handle kids that are a little extra hyper or a little bit rambunctious, type thing. And that they would lose their cool because they didn't know how to keep their cool and punish a child properly. They were taking their anger out on those 2 little boys. And who knows about the other 4, really? We don't know yet. Maybe they abused them to a point. And that'll come out probably,
Yeah.
And that's true, Mary. He did know his bio mom, and he did love her and miss her, and I'm sure, and all that. But I still feel like they could have easily said, these boys are too hard to control or too hard to handle. I'm sorry, this isn't working out. And they could have adopted different kids to replace that money because if it was about money or whatever. Um, I really think that they were just trying to get the money out of the boys and not give them back and not look like failures. But yet, in the end, they couldn't handle it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it is about money. I don't believe they loved him, but I don't believe they hated him either, type thing, you know? And I will say, Trezell does show some kind of remorse. He does. He was
He looks
apologizing.
guilty.
Yeah, like he knows he's guilty, and you could tell he feels bad, but you could tell they're at a point of no return. They ain't going back. They're not rolling on each other. They're not throwing no one under the bus. But she is cold-blooded, and all she cares about is, you know, them looking good. Where he was like really sad and apologizing to the bio mom that day out by the news thing. And I don't know why. I just see more I know it's not much, but I see just a little emotion from him and zip zero nada from her.
Right. The live audio is no longer working. It's only when it's live, so
April
we can't
10th.
listen in on it. The only thing we can hear are the opening statements, and
Oh, you're
you can
talking about the
find those
video.
if
She's
yeah,
talking about the live audio. That's done until April 10th.
yeah.
I think that's what she's
They,
talking about.
oh, okay. Well, if you want to see the opening statements of the audio on the video, then you can add my Slim Hoffa page on Facebook. The Slim Hoffa group, and it's
Right.
gonna be there. I'm trying to see if there's more we can mention. I feel like we touch bases on almost everything. Every time
I
I
do too.
could get off the live, I always be like, "Oh wait, I could have said this and that."
Right. And we can always go back in the chat and then, like I said, address it next live. Oh,
Right,
so
next
let's
live.
let everyone know how we're gonna do this. The recaps.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so like what we did this week was the next morning we would recap the prior day right before the new day started. So because we are moms, you know, and we do have a lot going on, and because things were like we were going over the recaps and then like the next day they were saying things that was kind of making us say, oh wait, okay, wait, they corrected me on what I said in our live. So I think it's smart for us. What we're going to do is the end of the week we'll do one live and we'll go over the whole entire week and all of our notes and everything like that. It just makes better sense for us to have our notes in place, and because we're moms. So,
yeah,
you know,
once a week. But
there's no
we hear
channel.
your birdies back there.
Oh, I know. I'm outside, so you can hear
They just
the
like
neighborhood birds. I love it.
yeah.
It's so peaceful.
It's
Embossed.
very peaceful.
There's no channel hosting the feed for the trial, but there's a link in Slim's group, Slim Hoffa True Crime on Facebook. It's pinned to the top of the group, and you click on that link, and once you get in there, there'll be a place you can press play when they're during trial, when it's live, and you can listen to the audio. There's no video,
Yeah.
and nobody's allowed to record that or stream it or anything like that, but you can go listen to it yourself, take notes, and talk about it later like we are.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So did we miss anything that you guys might have caught that you wanted to touch on or talk about? I always try to check before we get off, just in
Right.
case.
Just in case. I can't wait for April 10th. I want to see
I
who else they're
know,
going to put on the
right?
stand.
And then this goes
And they said
into
they have another
June.
recording.
Yep, they do. And just I don't know if everyone knows the exact schedule, but this trial is supposed to last till June.
Till June. Wow.
So I mean they're gonna have
That's a
that
long.
just and yeah, that just tells us they have a lot of witnesses to call up. They have a lot of
Yeah.
evidence to go over, and then they're gonna have to, the prosecution's gonna do their cross examination too. So it's gonna be like half the time is gonna be for the defense, and then the other half of the trial will be for the prosecution. Then you'll have your closing arguments, and then we'll be waiting for the jury to deliberate. So.
I wonder their closing arguments are going to be like.
I don't know. I just keep thinking like, I don't know why they didn't air this one. I don't know what they're protecting anymore. It's all pretty much out there, especially if we can hear the audio. What's the point of not videoing it? You know what I mean? They should just
Right. I think it's
let
just
court.
because
They
it's
should have let court
a
TV
child
at the very
case.
least. Well, like I get that, but I've seen kids' trials aired on national TV. So
That's
like
true.
the Casey Anthony case.
Yes.
Think about that.
True. That's true.
But then again, that was not a good outcome, and maybe that's what they're trying to protect is the integrity of the case. Like, okay, I kind of get it, but then I don't. It frustrates me. It's like just at least let court TV air some of it. Of course, I don't believe any children or juveniles should be videoed, and they might not even do the audio those days or at those times because the fact that they are kids. So I'm not sure how that's going to go either, to be honest.
Right.
I was thinking about that. We might not even get to hear their testimony. Oh, I agree. Pixel Pixie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trezell's mom was his number one ride or die in the situation. I feel like that whole family dynamic is weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she worked for the system, so she knows how that works. And you don't adopt two children and then just, oh, you know what, Mom? They went back to their bio
like
family.
Easily.
It don't work that way. And so now maybe someone like that doesn't know how the system works would fall for that. But Miss Wanda had worked didn't she work for CPS at one point, or was it Jacqueline's mom?
I think
one of their mothers.
One of them.
So you can't tell me y'all didn't know how the process goes. I never worked for CPS, and I know how it goes. Just common sense, Like you don't adopt kids and then, okay, they're going back. It doesn't work that way. Once the adoption's final, that's it. And if you do surrender them back to the state, they are going to place them with another home if they've already full out adopted them to someone. It's like kind of like there's no going backward once there's been legal rights taken away from the parents. And if there's a case that's happening, I would be blown away. Yeah, something with Jacqueline's mom is off, and I believe agree with you about that being her ride or die, because she was having visits with her mom by herself, without her husband, without her children, and her explanation was, they were like, well, she lived right next door to you, and she's like, well, she did move, and she wasn't living next to us anymore. And then the explanation for them not seeing him after moving to Cal City was they lived too far. Her mom couldn't do the drive. So her mom would ask her to come visit her, but come by yourself. Like, really? Now that's where the mom needs to be questioned. Did you really tell your daughter to just come over without the kids? Get her under oath and see if she lies or tells the truth on that one.
Yeah. The fact that they change names of children and already
Mm-hmm.
recognize their own names, that already recognize their own names says a lot to me. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well,
It
the
shows
youngest
being
though,
in control. They want to
yeah,
be in control of even their names.
and the names they picked is kind of strange. Orin and Orson, like just. And then he kept telling
I'm
the
not
bio
sure if
mom.
I heard
He
that
kept telling the
yesterday.
bio mom, "That's our son." And I kept thinking, God, that sounds a lot like Orson.
Yeah,
Like
right.
strange.
I'm not sure if I heard it right yesterday, but they said the kids picked their own names or something like that. I gotta look back on that.
Oh,
I don't
I
know if
think
I
they were
heard
very
that right.
adamant. No, no, no. Because I think they're very adamant. Trezell was very adamant that we named our boys. They were our boys. We
Oh,
named
okay.
them. If I remember correctly, he's been very adamant from day one about how those were his boys and he named them.
Mhm.
And that's always bothered everybody. Like, why would you rename them and then such strange names? I'm not trying to knock anyone's names. I'm just saying it was
And I
odd.
think his
Like, I think
yeah,
Classic and Sierra was like awesome. I was like, I love those names, to be honest with you. That I love unique names.
those
I
are
like
nice
when people
names.
do that.
Yeah.
Yes. And to have such unique names and be like a Classic and a Sincere, why would you change that? Those are amazing names. So, okay, at the beginning of this girl and I had looked up the meanings of the names Orrin and Orson. I cannot remember what the was, but it was very strange and odd. And then the fact that they
Mhm.
reported him missing during the winter solstice was kind of odd too. Like the darkest night of the year, like the coldest, darkest, and like all this stuff. So it's almost like were they even trying to kind of use that as a setup? Like, maybe some weirdo came out here because it's the winter solstice and they came out here to get two kids, like they were always trying to set the stage for some kind of scenario other than the real one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seen entering the home. Yes, she did go up there right before they moved out of the Aspen home. Um, her mom, Maria, did come up there, remember? There was
Yeah, she
video
came
of
over,
her
she said.
vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
She ran right to her child. So I get what you're saying, like about that's her ride or die. Yeah. Jacqueline's mom has two little girls and a little boy. Like she birthed them or adopted them because she has some grown ass kids. To have two little girls and a little boy. Well, a lot of people have kids as they get older still, but I'm just saying. Just wanted to kind of get what you meant by that. So you're saying the mom Maria has two little girls and a little boy, Mary? But yeah, so I don't know. I think we touched on everything.
Yeah. We probably did.
Oh, wait a minute
This
here.
case
Let's
is
talk about the
so
dogs real quick. So
okay.
they are trying to throw that part out too. So you know how they're saying that the dogs wouldn't pick up the boy's scent outside of the home or the van.
Mhm.
So what that
Mhm.
tells me is the dogs were able to pick up their scent at least, on something. Well, the defense is pushing that they weren't scent dogs; they were actually cadaver dogs. And then she asked the officer, "Did you even talk to the dog handler at any point?" He says no. So apparently, according to the dog handler, they were not individual scent searchers. Like they're not the type of dogs that look for individual scents in people. They're the type of dogs that look for cadaver. And so they said, now, don't quote me on this, on who said it, but supposedly one of the officers told the dog handler to take the dog around the way and look for body parts. And I thought, no way that was said. No way that was said. Not
Wow.
like that anyway. Not like they don't go looking for body parts. I've never even heard anyone refer to it that way. Like, why would the cop tell the dog handler, hey, go look around here for body parts? Like, that just, to me, I don't know where the defense came up with that one. Someone twisted something somewhere along the lines on that state.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for remains, period, remains. And you're
Yeah,
looking
they would
for,
never say. Well, I don't know, but that's not something they would say.
and I don't think the dogs were brought in that first day, that night initially. And was it the next day or a couple days later? I don't know for sure. Because at
I
that
don't
point,
know.
they had
I
already
know,
had him
like a few
figured out
days
within
later.
5 minutes. So they were probably already
Yeah.
making plans for cadaver dogs to come search that lot and in the backyard. And then, I'm curious when they're going to get to the part where they dug up the yard and why. Like,
Yeah.
why did
And
you
what
do
did
all
they
the holes
find?
that,
And
yeah, why did you do the holes like you did and the way you did it? And what prompted you to dig up the yard? Was there a hit from a cadaver dog? See, that's where, because in the report, it's saying that those dogs did not detect their scent in the yard or beyond the house, only in the house or the van. So to me, I'm like, why did they dig up the backyard like they did? If the dogs didn't even pick up their scent back there, that's strange. And I also want to know about the sawdust in the trash can. I wonder if the
yeah.
police noted that in the report. Wasn't that weird that the neighbor said that Trezell was on his roof with like a Swiffer type thing, wiping off like the solar panels and stuff? I thought that was odd. I'm like, I guess he was just trying to make himself look like a normal father, husband,
Okay.
but that's not normal.
He's
I've
so
never known
listen.
anyone to crawl. I've never known anyone to climb up on their roof with a Swiffer and wipe down their solar panels. And I can't believe they
He
allowed
would.
this in
Trezell
court.
would do something like that.
Right, but the part that I can't believe they allowed was the neighbor to give his opinion on why he thinks he was up there doing that. With that, no, wait, we don't allow opinions in a case like this. So his opinion was he was dusting them off so they would get a better connection to the sun. Well, we don't need your opinion. You're not a professional. You don't know about solar panels. You've witnessed them up there wiping them down. I guess they said, well, what did you think about it when you saw him up there doing that? Did you think that was weird or whatever? But still, his opinion
I
on
was
that
like, I
don't
thought he
matter.
was
It was
crazy.
irrelevant. Yeah, it was irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I was surprised they didn't shut it down and say, strike, that's
They're
irrelevant,
trying to make it seem like he's like a family guy that does what he does his chores, he does takes care of his responsibilities, he's responsible. They're trying to draw him like that. The guy
Right,
who saved
right.
the day
Like the good
and
guy,
adopts
yes.
little black boys that were just like
Because
him.
they remind him of him, yeah. So what kind of life
Yeah.
did you have with Miss Wanda there then? Anyway, yeah, it is insane. Oh, so her mom, Maria, has adopted two little girls and a little boy. I got you, Mary. Thank you for clarifying. Interesting.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I
May,
did know that, but I wasn't sure.
so, because I do remember that they were saying at the beginning that it was like a family thing that they adopt kids for money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense
Right.
now. Yes, there was liquor bottles in the trash too, sawdust, and supposedly blood, which I do have a screenshot of, but I'm not sure who took that, where it came from, if it's really their trash can. So I would hate to really kind of speak on that too
Right.
much because if whoever took that picture, could come forward and like tell us about it, I'd love to hear about it, to be honest.
There's this video of the night that the boys were reported missing. there's this video of like somebody recording in front of the house, and there's like so many people talking and everything, and they're like saying good information that they hear like at that moment, and it's
Hmm.
dark, the video, but I can't
Hmm.
find that video anywhere else. Like I've been looking for it. Whoever had that video up took it down,
Well, let
and it
me
was of
look.
that night.
And two, sometimes you can find it in other groups because even if someone took it down,
Right,
most likely at least one person has screenshotted or screen recorded it, you know? And a lot of
right.
these YouTubers, I want to go back to your beginning videos, AV Watchman's beginning videos, like from like the beginning of this, and kind of just
Yeah,
take some notes and refresh things so I can try and catch some of these contradictions that are going on in court because, and to kind of, like discuss what we think adds up and doesn't.
yeah. But the sad part is we couldn't even get recent pictures of these babies.
Until court.
Mhm.
And right when we thought we finally got the most recent pictures, because they looked older in those last two pictures that were released, and those are the ones we're using for all these flyers and stuff. We're like, yay,
Mhm.
finally there's pictures of them older, not just these ones where they were way before they were missing. And then to see the ones in court that were actually the most recent ones compared to the ones we thought were, oh my God, my heart just tore into a million pieces. I
Right,
couldn't believe
right.
it.
Oh, Mary said she saw that video. It had to be taken down. I wonder
Uh,
why.
I saw that the house had the camera inside the window.
They
He was,
probably was
he
giving out
also
too much
used to have,
information.
he used to have a camera on a stand facing outside his window too, if you remember correctly. Trezell himself was weird with cameras. So
Yes, he
I
had
would
a little
hope,
camera outside his
yeah,
window. Not outside, but it was in his window. But was it? I forgot I have pictures of it. I have pictures of that camera. And
right,
it was supposed to be where the boys ran out, right? In
right.
that little field.
Hmm. And
Hmm.
I'm curious because it happened around the same time. Why would you, if you're moving into a new house and you still owed the lady money? Remember, there was something about a loan and they still owed her money and all this. Then why
Hmm.
are you guys? You all of a sudden don't have time to do your art and your music to make that extra money you honestly need. And then why would you shut down your ice cream business that you have?
Right.
Like, to
Oh,
me,
yeah, I
that's
forgot about
odd.
that.
Those are red flags. Like, you're shutting down income that you need tells a lot.
Yeah,
Like, you're running
yeah.
from something.
You're about
Because,
to run. Yeah.
yeah, because you don't shut down your income like that or your business that's going so
Oh,
well. Or,
you know what I want to talk about? Do you remember one time when I was like in this Facebook group of Cal City, right? And somebody had posted like, oh, and they lived on that block where Orrin and Arson were reported missing. They posted, why would people leave furniture out here lying around? Da 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 da. And it was a couch that was just laying there, like they just left it outside like garbage
at the Cal
in
City home.
somebody else's, yeah, in somebody
Oh,
else's front yard. It was one of the
odd.
neighbors too. It was across the street.
But,
Um,
I'm not going to lie. You know, I've seen
I
that
did
growing
Google
up, or
searching,
I've seen that growing up, and
and
some people I know do actually have a couch in their yard, and like, it's not to me.
no, I
That's
know
not
that.
abnormal.
No, somebody threw out their couches and threw it in front of their yard, right?
Oh, I
And
got you.
and they said that they said they're trying to get the city to come pick it up and clean it, whatever. Now I look on Google and I look at the couches that Orvin and Arson had, in their apartment. It kind of looks kind of the same.
Similar,
Kind of
yeah.
couch, love seat. Yeah, it kind of looks
Hmm.
similar. And I'm just like, I was wondering, like, maybe they did something on that couch and they're trying to get rid of evidence. And now I'm seeing it on this Facebook group. And you know what I'm saying? And
But then why
I don't
wait for the
know,
city
somehow
to come clean it? Because then you're taking a chance of them finding something and being like, wait, whoa, what's this? Or you know what I mean? Like they were known for burning stuff in Wanda's backyard, so
right.
which their van seats, and there was cushions to like a couch or a love seat or something in that backyard too. I have the pictures. There was a lot of weird stuff. There
Yeah.
was holes dug. There was stuff half buried, sticking out of the dirt, half in, half out. But what the most struck me as from that backyard was the van seat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you back there burning a van seat? And
A
that's
whole van
and
seat,
then the
like the
van that
whole
was
back seat.
right, and they got a new van that matched exactly their first one. And the first one they stopped using and parked it in Miss Wanda's driveway. And then they said that that was the one they would use for their business, the ice cream. And that since they weren't doing
Yeah.
their business no more, they parked it. And then they had gotten the new van. I forget what the reasoning was for that part. But yeah, there's something happened in that van too, maybe, or because they used it to transport evidence and bodies.
Oh,
Like
maybe. Yeah.
bodily fluid being on the seat, so they had to burn it. Do you
Right.
see what I'm saying? That's always been my
Right.
first thought. Do you remember when, I don't want to say any names or put anyone out there just in case they could get in trouble for this, so I'm going to not do that. But do you remember when there was like a few people went over to Wanda's and was looking in the windows to the van and took pictures? I need to find those pictures because there was some weird stuff going on
Oh,
in that van. Remember?
yes, I remember.
Okay.
I
And
think I have the. I think I have those pictures somewhere. Screenshot
so we're going to be busy this weekend going through all the
it.
videos and pictures and everything.
Right.
That's why I saved them too,
Right.
because I'm like, I need storage on my phone, but I cannot delete pictures from all these cases that I cover because I need to pull them up later and refresh my memory, or be like, hey, why didn't they address this? This was like, serious. So, and if I
Mhm.
swear to God, by the time this trial ends, if there's something that they didn't address that was really serious, then I would suggest we send it in to them, be like, hey, you missed something, you missed this, because we all have
Yeah.
evidence too, if you think about it. We all followed this from the jump. We screenshotted, screen recorded. We followed the YouTubers. Most of the videos are still up. So we can go
Yeah.
back and look back at everything that was going down in real time and compare it to what's being
Right.
said in court.
Right.
Yeah, his
And
Facebook was
even
Trey
I even
West.
have when Trezell and Jacqueline said they took all of their technology and all of that equipment.
Hmm.
Trezell West was still going online and updating his music page.
Yes, I remember that because we were all looking it up and we're like, oh, wait, he just downloaded a song.
Yeah.
I do
And
remember
then he
that.
took it out and then yeah. He he was
So they
over here
were
worried
trying to
about
make
his
money.
music.
Hmm.
Then yeah, but it's like why are you trying to make money? You trying to get out the situation? You want to move out?
Like in
You want to
her
get out?
interrogation, yes, we were having money issues, but then she turned around and when they asked her again, she goes, well, we weren't really having money issues. It was just we weren't making as much because we weren't selling our art and music. She never brought up the ice cream business, which I thought was strange. Oh, you know what? We did take a little hit from our business. She left that completely out of it. She was just talking about their art and music and not having that extra funds. And I'm thinking in my head, well, what about your ice cream business and those funds? That would have been your main income. Like
Right,
that
like a
would have
whole
been something to
business.
bring up. Right. Like that would have been something to
Right.
talk about. So she played it like they didn't have money issues, but they could be making extra money. This is what the way she made it like come out.
Yeah.
But I'll just never forget what Miss Wanda said. You think you got it, but you don't, but you do. But you don't quite got it.
Mm-hmm.
That will forever be engraved in my head. So I don't know if she was
Right.
saying just be patient, things will start coming out. You know, maybe she knew this was going to go to trial because we did keep seeing detectives coming over and talking with them. So maybe she was already aware and just told not to say anything. But why go out in your yard then and stand there and defend your family and your home? Like, just stay in your house and it'll all go away, you know?
Yeah. Did you see
Like
how
the
hard it was to open the gate?
Yes, it wasn't easy. So it's not like they could have
Yeah,
just
you have
opened
to
it.
like pull a metal latch, and then pull the whole metal gate. It's just like it's not easy.
I think the owner even said how, because they're the ones who had it installed or put it in, like it was built pretty sturdy. It wasn't rickety like I don't know if he stood on it and like bounced to make it look rickety all of a sudden. He did something before, to make
Mm-hmm.
that look rickety, because it was like the owner said it was very sturdy when it was installed, and it had been recently installed, I believe. So, and if he was worried the dogs could get out of it, like, there's just nothing adds up mathematically or scientifically.
Right. They even said they found body parts, like no, like bones in the desert while they were looking for Orrin
I
and Marshall.
believe, I believe they found at least 3 bodies during the search for Orrin and Orson.
That's crazy.
Yep, and one of them was a missing female. I cannot remember her name. I feel bad about that, but I do recall, like, every time they found remains, we were all like,
Yeah.
waiting to see. But Steve Watchman is training his dog, and he's working with that one dog handler, and they did collect some soils and sent it out for testing, and I don't believe he ever updated us on the results of those. So I
Yeah.
thought to myself, well, maybe that's going to be part of the trial. And that's why he never told us, hey, you know what? Turned out not to be the boys'. He never really said any follow up on that. And unless I forget.
Right.
But they had a few
I
areas
don't
of
think so.
interest, and all they need is the soil, and they can test it for um, the DNA of the person they're looking for.
Oh,
And then if it
okay.
comes out positive, then they dig to see what's down there. And so that's why I'm like, like,
So
he
why
never
did they
really
dig
said.
so many spots?
And well,
They
like,
even drilled one of the plastic. It was like a walkway. They drilled it in the back, and they digged inside of it.
oh, they
It
hammered
was
it.
the
Yeah,
front of the shed.
jackhammered it. They jackhammered that. It was
Yeah.
like a cement walkway, and then they ended up replacing it
Mhm.
back down. Yeah. But the thing with the dog
Yeah. So
handler and AV Watchman, like, he had us all excited that they might have found him because they had collected all these soil samples in these areas of interest. And he was going to give us the results when he got him in. And I don't ever remember no results coming in.
yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe there was a little something to that, and it's going to be part of the trial and part of the evidence. I could be reading into it wrong, so don't quote me on that. I'm just saying that's my opinion, because the more I think back on it, I'm like, I don't remember him ever updating us on those soil samples. No, he wasn't just looking for a girl, Mary. He was looking for the boys mainly. And then he was also looking for, oh, I'm going to kick myself for this. I can't think of her name. The lady and her daughter was missing. They finally found her, and she's been going to court. Remember? That's the girl that you're talking about. He was looking for, Mary, and they did actually find her in someone's yard, I think, buried. But he was looking for her and the boys. He was looking for a few. He wasn't just looking for one or the other. Yeah, they had a tip, and it led them to someone's house, and they found her daughter. And I've been following her forever and her daughter's case, and I just have this headache right now and cannot think of her name, and like that upsets me. I'm so sorry.
Do I know who it is?
Yeah, she's in the groups advocating for the boys very much, and her and Rose support each other, and Kish, they all support each other, and I think they've even gone to her daughter's trial with her or something. I don't know. I need to look. I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. I promise you. I'm trying to think of her name because I think that's what Mary's
Desiree
talking about.
Thompson?
I believe so. Yes, yes, yes. She was finally found.
Desiree.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
believe that's
Okay,
who
yeah.
Mary's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That case too right there. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
can't believe that happened to her.
So sad. I felt so bad for her mom. Because her mom didn't even know that house or something like that. She couldn't believe that was her daughter there or whatever.
Yeah, it was just like that was so random how they found her, but wow. Yeah, that's another topic we could touch on another time.
Yeah.
We could definitely speak on
I'm going to
that.
go back.
I just got to get more information.
I am going to go back. Right. That's why I was just going to say I am going to go back and I am going to watch A.B. Watchman's videos because I want to see if he ever did a video of a follow-up on the boys' soil sample search. And maybe I just missed it. Maybe I just didn't catch it one day or something. But I'm sure I would have heard about it in like all the groups or something. But I'm going to look because I don't recall him ever updating us whether it was a hit or not. He got us all excited saying that they had a hit in the soil. He'll let us know more later when they get more results, and then nothing. So I'm like, could that be part of evidence for this trial?
Oh, maybe.
It's just because it got too quiet. And then if you notice, he kind of went silent for a while.
Yeah.
And he's been popping in and out here and there.
He was getting harassed too, so he was getting tired of it.
Yeah, but he was still dedicated to the boys, man, and he still pops in and out every now and then. Still, like lately too, and but like I want to go back and see if he ever updated those soil samples because I don't believe he did, and it just leads me to think, why wouldn't he?
It could be evidence.
Could it be evidence?
Maybe it was nothing.
But he would have told us. He would have said, "Hey, it's nothing," because he had us all hyped up that this could be it. You know, hey, like I've got these, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't gone live. I was wondering if he was going to do anything and touch on any of this, since he was like in the upfront, on the ground, knowing so much. He made a video the other day on Facebook that he was still searching for the boys. That's the only thing that I've seen of him recently. And then he was going to go live when they got to the place they were going to search, and he never did that I seen.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happened with that day either. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got me all mixed up and confused over here, though. Right, Charlie? He did post something in United We Stand Missing Children on Facebook recently, but like I said, he was going to go live and search for the boys, and then he never went live. And if he did, I missed it.
Mm. I just appreciate all the YouTubers and everybody that's helping to put out
Yes.
awareness for these boys, and they really doing their best they can. And we all been here since day one, since that
Yes.
first interview.
Yeah. Yes, Mary. Matt and Apple is going to do a update every Saturday.
Oh yeah.
I wonder what time they'll be doing their update. The time, I'm trying to think. Oh wait, they're in California. It's the same time as me. Never mind. I was going to say I'm trying to think of the time difference, but
Yeah,
because I'm going to compare
you're
that
good.
to the notes. But like he said, he has a lot to say about no emotion, mannerisms, and such like that too. The stuff we don't get to see. We get to hear it, but we don't get to see what's
Yeah,
going on.
and we never seen Trezell and Jacqueline shed one tear, not one tear.
No, in fact, he kept squeezing his eyes in the interview on the news, like he was trying to make it look like he was, or
Yeah,
trying to make
right.
himself cry, or trying to make it look like he'd been crying, or whatever. Oh,
Not one tear. These people are sick.
yes. Man, I cannot wait to see them raw. I just know it. I have a feeling. I have a feeling that this jury is not buying this shit. I mean, anyone in the right mind can see that this don't, and I'm going to say it again, it mathematically and scientifically does not add up. Even, with all this evidence. That's why I really wish they could just find them. It would just make this so much easier on the poor family.
Mm.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'll pray one day they will find these boys.
Man, I don't know though, because they really had a head start and went way out of their way to, hide any and all evidence. So I don't know.
They need to go back to Bakersfield
They need to go back
where it
to,
was
I wonder
going
if
all
they,
over.
that makes me think, like, did they go back to that apartment they were staying in before they moved, where the other kids are saying this happened at with Oren? And did
They
they
had to.
did they do the
They had
luminol? Did
to.
they do the everything? I hope to God they did, because even when you move out of an apartment and they come in to clean it and get it ready for the next people to move in, even when you put paint on walls, still stuff can show up. So I'm praying that
Oh
if
yeah.
and when they did, that they did come up with at least something. Some
Mm-hmm.
kind, they just need a little bit of proof to back up these kids' statements.
Right.
Ouch. Okay.
Where did my markers go?
I don't know, baby.
Yes, I think we spoke about everything. We touched
Yes,
bases
I
on
feel like we
basically
did.
everything.
And then some a little bit, which is good. Right here, babe.
Yeah. If anything else, we'll go live again and we'll touch
Yes.
bases again.
Yep. And while I was gonna suggest, while they're out for spring break, after we go over some of like the stuff from the beginning and whatever, and we go through our videos and screenshots and notes and everything, if there's anything we feel like we want to discuss while we have this time off from the trial, maybe that would be good, just to refresh some things, and that way we compare them later. Does that
Right.
make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can still maybe do one live a week just to keep the algorithm going and keep discussing the case and going over like what we already know and like I said, all that and
Any new
compare.
information? Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go over all the old stuff.
Oh yeah, me
Like
too.
if they're
Yeah,
going from
there's a
if
lot.
they're if they're going from our beginning, which is sadly the end of this for, the boys, if they're going from that backwards, I kind of want to do that too. I'm going to go start from the very beginning when they were reported missing and then just work our
Right.
way, and then we'll throw that in there here and there with the stuff that's happening now.
Right. Yeah. That sounds good. Start from the very beginning.
Yes, Mary, I do remember that. I do. You're right. I do remember that too. And then the neighbors, that's when the neighbors started talking with like the YouTubers and stuff.
Remember that video where Ellie was searching the field near Casaloma? Yes.
I would like to know when her mom moved away from Casaloma. Like when her mom was living next door to her, then she moved, and then they moved. I want to know the time difference between all that. What made mom move away from living next door to her daughter? When did she move? And when was that compared to when they moved and when this all started, supposedly happening? Because like
Right.
I don't trust Wanda or Maria. You know what moms will do for their kids? I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you right now,
They're
I'm
gonna
a ride or
hold
die
it
for my
down and
kids too. Like I will ride or die for my kids too, but when it comes to somebody losing their life and that right from wrong stuff, I'm sorry. It's like I will be there for you what I can, but you gotta go do your time for what you did. You know, I'm
you
not
gotta
gonna
serve
sit here
your
and try
shit.
and cover it up and hide it and try and no, that's just man, that's
Right.
sad. That's so sad. Mm-mm.
I'm gonna be pissed. I didn't raise you like that. You better
Right.
get your
Like
shit right.
you better hope that you get your ass to prison before I do something to you myself. Shoot. you know? Like, man.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, it was good. This was a nice live.
Yes, it was.
Thank
We
you
had a little more
everybody for
time.
joining. Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for your support. Hit that like button. Share it out. Spread
Make sure to
awareness. Help us.
subscribe if you haven't.
Right. Definitely subscribe so you can see us again. Maybe.
Definitely gonna
Thank you,
keep you
Sarah, for
going, girl.
joining.
I'm gonna keep you going. I've
Right.
been trying to get you to go live for like 2 years. Like,
Yeah. Forever.
yes,
But
forever, ever.
yeah, thank you, Sarah, for joining.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was
Thank you for
awesome.
covering the case
Um,
though, like from day one and just supporting
yeah,
the boys, the
you too.
family, the everything. Yes.
Yes,
You
you
know,
too. All of us spreading awareness. That's what we do. We're here for the boys in Syrian Classic. We're gonna make sure they get their justice. You
that's
know,
right.
we're
Yeah,
gonna be the voice that they don't have. You know,
that's right.
um,
And right now, the family is
everybody.
going through a sensitive time. They can't speak on it because of the gag orders and stuff. So, if we can keep this refreshed in everyone's mind and memories and, go over everything, then that's what we need to do. Like you said, be their voice. Because right now, some
Right,
people want to be their voice and they just can't. Like I said, because of the gag orders and them being family and so close to the situation. So for us to be able to do it, I'm just glad to be able to. Sit down, baby.
yeah, yes, yes. Amen.
Yes,
True.
amen.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for joining, and we out.
Everyone have a good day. Bye.